It's December 9th, 2015. Arriva had just won the Northern Rail franchise and was set to run it until 2025, but it was cut short in 2020, and if you live in the north, you know why.
First train cancelled, next train late, equals this.
Late every day, every single day. Every time we used it, we got delayed.
I've actually heard announcements saying that this train is 90 minutes late.
By the next stop, more squeeze on, but some are left behind on the platform.
20% of all services arrived late.
About
28,000 cancelled trains.
Public here in Greater Manchester, we're seeing late trains, cancelled trains.
But first, we have to go back to 1997. Privatisation was at full swing in this point, with many different companies racing to get their piece of the pie, and one of these companies was Merseyside Transport Limited, or MTL. They had the biggest piece of the pie in terms of regional railways' network. They got the entirety of Northern England. And not just that, they introduced a new service that will connect Sunderland, Scarborough, Newcastle and Hull to Manchester, Liverpool and Blackpool. You know this as Transpennine Express. So why is this relevant? Well, MTL was bought out by Arriva in 2000. That meant they got the entirety of Northern England. And immediately after, problems arose. After a worsening relationship between Arriva and the RMT union, industrial action occurred. This led to a £2 million fine from the Strategic Rail Authority. This industrial action was already adding on to the horrible shortage of drivers that they were having. Which evidently led to many cancellations, which was the main reason why an emergency timetable was implemented, which meant many services were cancelled permanently. After many years of suffering and losing the Transpennine franchise to Keolis and First Group, Arriva lost the Northern franchise to Circo Abellio in 2004, and Arriva Trains Northern was history. Until 2016. Let me give you an analogy. I think of train operating companies as a cake. You add the dry ingredients, you add the wet ingredients, you mix it all together, bake it in the oven. There you've got a good cake. Operating trains in the UK is really no different. The dry ingredients are the infrastructure that the trains will run on, and the wet ingredients are the actual trains. So if we link this back to Arriva Rail North, we can see them start to add the dry ingredients. This includes the electrification of the Blackpool lines, a new penalty fare scheme, and the Orzel cord. Mix that all up together and you've got the base of a lovely cake. That was a voice crack and a half. Mix that all up together and you've got the base of a lovely cake. All you need now is the wet ingredient. Wait, what's that for? What is what? If you mention 2018 to a northerner, you'll undoubtedly get this reaction. Now, although the average southerner will laugh at us and call us tosspots of this, there is a very dire reason for this PTSD. The May 2018 timetable change. Some people call it a perfect storm, I call it a nuclear explosion. There were many factors that contributed to this. Firstly, the Blackpool branch electrification. Now this time, it wasn't Arriva's fault. After Network Rail delayed the electrification at short notice, Arriva was in a bit of a predicament, as they had just put many of their drivers into driver training for electric services, which was adding on to the already prevalent shortage of drivers. Are you seeing a pattern here? So naturally, when you've got barely any drivers and a really hard timetable to follow, I think you know what happened. Secondly, we've got the opening of the Orzel cord. Now personally, if you ask me, spending £85 million on a track which is probably about 100 metres long is a bit excessive, but we'll just leave it at that. And yet again, I don't believe it was Arriva's fault. Because personally, I don't think Network Rail understood how busy the line would get. So because of all the overcrowding, delays, cancellations, kind of ruined up their core network, if you ask me. So to put it in simplified terms, not much actually went wrong. But the things that did go wrong completely wrecked the franchise and Arriva's reputation in the north. But if I were to make a solid conclusion, Network Rail pretty much caused the demise. Because of a delay of Blackpool branch electrification and denying the 2 new platforms at Manchester Piccadilly. So also after some more issues with ASLEF and drivers driving on Sundays, the franchise was eventually abolished, and was the first one to be abolished from pole performance since Connex South Central in 2003. And now we've made it to 2024, where Northern Rail is now owned by the Department for Transport. So I hope you guys enjoyed this docu-shithousery video. This was a few months in the making, so I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. But then again, I don't control you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.